Hey everybody, this is Frillioth and welcome to another Minecraft tutorial. Right, today we're over on the test world, on my one chunk farming test world, where I do all of the development and testing of any new additions I want to put into the one chunk farming system. And we're over here today because I want to show you how to upgrade the mob parts, the mob section of the one chunk farming system. Now, when I first designed it, I wanted to make it as easy as possible, and I wanted it to fit inside one chunk because otherwise it wouldn't be part of the one chunk farming system. So that's what I did, but I made it very simplistic. I mean, it really was simplistic, and because of that, it wasn't very efficient. And it's been pointed out to me by a few people that it could be more efficient. So I thought I'd do something about it, and that's what we're going to do today. So currently, at the moment, it consists of a couple of floors. It depends how many floors you built, but it was initially built with 2 floors. You've got the bottom floor, you've got the water at the bottom, which funnels everything, all of the mobs, down into the mine carts at the bottom there, the 25 or so mine carts that cram them to death. But it relies on the mobs spawning on the platforms and then walking off in between the trapdoors, and the carpets are there to stop spiders. And this is on a couple of floors, and it seems to work okay when you're within a certain distance from the farm. If you get outside, and I don't know the exact figure, I think it must vary because, to be honest, on the test world, I've been over 100 blocks away and this thing works as intended. But on some servers and on some other people's worlds, I've been told that when you get outside 36 or so blocks from the farm, the mobs spawn but don't walk around, and obviously that's not very good if you need them to walk around to fall off. So what we're going to do today is completely gut the middle of this. All of this is going to come out, and we're going to redesign it using an automated an automated dispenser system that's going to flush the mobs off of a platform. So there are going to be 2 platforms. One's at the bottom where the water is now. The other one's about here. And it's going to flush them off into the centre. And in fairness, it's made it about 4 or 5 times more efficient than it is at the moment. So it's got to be a good thing. It does use a little bit more resources. It uses a few more blocks. It uses 8 dispensers, a bit of redstone, a few torches. You need a hopper timer clock underneath the bottom, which have a couple of hoppers and a couple of sticky pistons. But if you've built this farm, you've probably got those resources knocking about anyway. So just to give you a quick demo of what it's like at the moment, these 2 farms over here, this one is the new design, this one is the current design. So I've stuck the world into hard mode. I'll give it 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and have a look at what the rates are like. Okay, so it's been running now for about 10 minutes. So we've given it a quick test, and let's go over and have a look. Remember, this is the upgraded version. So we'll just take that out of there. A few witches in there as well, which is always good to see. So that is what is in that's what's come out of the upgraded version within the 10 minutes, and this is what's come out of the original version in the same time. So as you can see from the upgraded version, it's at least 3 times as efficient with gunpowder, 1.5 times as efficient with the rotting flesh, exactly twice as efficient with bones, and which is surprising really. It's twice, you get twice as many bones, but you get 3 times as many arrows, which is a bit weird. And we didn't get any witches spawn, or we didn't get any witches falling out of the old farm, the old version. And I've currently got a second account up there, that's going to keep it loaded while we go into spectator mode. So if we go into spectator mode, we'll have a look inside the farm, and I hopefully can explain what is going on. So in the old farm, currently at the moment, that's the bottom part of it, and then we've got the spawning floors. As you can see, even though my camera account is only about 60 blocks away, these guys, they don't walk around a lot. do they really? I mean, this relies on them spawning and then walking off. And clearly they're not big fans of walking about. So consequently, the platforms fill up quite quickly and then they just stand there, which is not good. So if we take a look at the new farm, what happens here is let's go down to the one that's not being flooded. The entire floor at the bottom is a spawning floor now. Unlike the pads on the other module, these are all spawning floors, so the mobs can spawn all over the place. And once every 15 seconds or so, I think it's 32 blocks in the time. It's just 15 seconds-ish. The water flushes out of the corners and flushes all of them to the middle. And the two floors are on alternating cycles. So when this floor is being flooded, this floor is spawnable. And when this floor is being flooded, this floor is spawnable. So there is always a floor for mobs to spawn onto. And because it doesn't rely on them walking about, it relies on the water pushing them to the middle, we can be up to 128 blocks away from this farm and it'll still work. Now the only disadvantage of this farm is that there's no way to stop spiders from spawning in here. The other module over there used carpet, and obviously I can't use carpet in this farm because of the water. So you'll just have to grin and bear it. Now as long as you AFK more than 36 blocks away from this farm, eventually those spiders, like that one did there, these spiders will despawn after about a minute. Between 40 seconds and a minute, they'll despawn. In testing though, I have found every so often you'll get lots of spiders appear and it causes a minor issue for a minute or so. I mean, these at the moment are causing a bit of a problem. But eventually they'll despawn and everything will go back to normal. So mobs spawn on the floor, they get flushed into the middle, and as they get flushed into the middle, they fall down into the cramming station that's just down there. That's going to be your 25 or so minecarts down there, which cram them to death, clearing them out of the system reasonably quickly. And as we've seen, this is at least twice as efficient. I've tested it for a couple of hours, and the figures were 3 or 4 times more efficient than the old module. So let's get over there and start building it. Okay, so if you want to build this from scratch, if you want to build the mob section from scratch, I'll put a link in the description now that'll take you to the original tutorial for building this. What you need to do is build the bottom part of it. So build this bottom part and build the center part that has the minecarts in it and the timer that spits things out of the dropper, because on both modules that's going to be identical. I'm not going to be building that today, so if you haven't built this already, follow the link, go and start building the original farm, and when you get to the first floor, this floor where we start putting the water in, then come back to this module. If you've already built this module and you're just upgrading it, then that's what we're going to do now. So get yourself into the farm, into where your spawning platforms are, and light it up to start with to stop mobs from spawning. The last thing you need is bad guys spawning in here. They shouldn't spawn because you're within 24 blocks, but you never know. You might be over in this corner. You know, you might get one over in this corner, and you don't need that. So light it up. Now what we need to do is get rid of the water at the bottom. So just get yourself around the bottom. And get rid of all of this water. Right, once you've done that, we need to get rid of these 2 spawning platforms. So all you need to do now is completely dig all of this out. You're not going to need the trapdoors again, so you can store those and do what you like with them, but you are going to need the blocks again. Now we've done that, we need to get down to the bottom. So we need to drop down into the bottom of the farm, where this section is, the original section. Not quite sure why there's a hole there. To this little bit, and we need to put in a hopper timer. So we need to make a little bit of room. It's it's got to go to both sides. It's going to activate some redstone. Let me just lock that up as well. It's going to activate some redstone torches there. It's going to activate a redstone torch tower there. So really, you just want to stick it somewhere in the middle. And to make one, grab yourself a couple of hoppers. You need to put a hopper down there and then a hopper leading into it. Get rid of that, the first one, and then have two hoppers pointing into each other. Coming off those two hoppers, you need a comparator one side. You need a comparator the other side. That'll draw a signal out of that particular hopper. And then next to the comparators, you'll need to put a solid block. Now next to the solid blocks, you need to put down two bits of dust, one there and one there, like that. Then get yourself your sticky pistons. Put a sticky piston there facing inwards, a sticky piston there facing inwards, and then a redstone block there like that. Okay, now you can grab 32 or so blocks and throw them in your hoppers. That's going to activate your timer. And now that redstone block is going to bounce backwards and forwards. Now on this block you need to put yourself down a torch. And on this block, you need to put yourself down a torch. Okay? And then you need to run a line of dust from one side to the other, like that. And as you can see, every time the block moves from one side to the other, it activates that line. That's going to be the line that turns on and turns off the dispensers that are holding the water. Now you've done that, you need to get back up onto that floor, onto here, and you need to put a line of solid blocks all the way down one wall. Okay, like that. Now, bearing in mind that your timer is running across there. Okay, so there's your timer. It's running that way, and you want one of the signals to go over to that wall. You want another signal to go over to that wall. So put a line of blocks down that wall like that, and do the same on this side. Okay, now find the middle. This is obviously the middle. You want to pop out that block and pop out the block underneath it, just temporarily. We're going to be putting a torch tower in there, and then you want to do the same on the other side. So those two blocks, and then we'll put a torch tower down there. So pop yourself down to the bottom, put a block there and a block there, put a redstone torch on top of that. Then grab yourself a repeater. You need to put a repeater there and a repeater there. Okay? Then take your dust off of this repeater and run it into that block. And then set this repeater on 2 ticks. Then over to the other side. Block there, redstone torch on that. And then redstone dust leading into that block, that on 2 ticks. Now every time the timer goes from one side to the other, that redstone torch flashes, and that's going to be what turns your dispensers on and off. So that's it, you've done down here now. So get yourself back up onto this level. You can now block off the bottom. You need to put a redstone torch in there, block on top of it, redstone torch on top of that. Same on the other side. Redstone torch, solid block, redstone torch. Now you need to take out your solid blocks again, go to any one of the corners, and you need to count 7 blocks across the wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you want to do the same going this way. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then join them together to make a big triangle. Like that. And then do the same on all 4 sides. So you come to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. So there's already 1 there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Join them together. Do the same on the other 2 sides. Right, once you've got all 4 of those in, you need to go to one of the corners, take out your dispensers. These have to be dispensers. If you use droppers, you're going to be wasting your time. It won't work. Make sure you use dispensers. And you need to come across one of the walls where you put the line of blocks down to start with. You see, we've got that line of blocks there with the redstone torch on it. We've got this line of blocks there with the redstone torch on it. You need to come to one of those corners and you want to put a dispenser there. So you've got your redstone torch there, and then you've got your dispenser there facing this way. And you want to do the same on the other side. Like that. Then you want to fill the middle in with blocks up to the redstone torch. Put one above the torch, and then fill the other side in with solid blocks. Now you want to take out your redstone dust, and you want to put dust all the way up to the next to the middle block. We don't want to be putting it there just yet because we don't want the dispensers to be activated. And you want to do the same on the other side. So at the moment, if I put another piece of dust there, it would activate the dispensers, make them click. Now we want to do exactly the same on the other side. So grab your dispensers into the corner, redstone torch, dispenser facing into the middle like that. The other corner, dispenser facing into the middle like that. Join them together with solid blocks, making sure you put one above the torch. Then grab your redstone dust. Redstone dust all the way to there. So now we've got that. Now you need to take out your solid blocks. You need to get to the middle. Now be very careful when you're working around the middle, because if you fell in there with those minecarts, you're going to die within seconds. It'll cram you to death, and it's not going to be very pleasant. So crouch. Whenever you're near the middle, crouch. Do not fall in there. So get yourself some solid blocks, and you want to put 3 solid blocks next to the hole, all the way around it. 3 there. 3 there, and then you can pop out those blocks. They were just temporary blocks. Now you need to put another 5 blocks off of each one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five. And then you need to fill those in. Pretty much the same as what you did at the bottom, like that, all the way around. So now you've got that. Now the reason we can only put it to there, we can't go any further, is because if we had it any further, the mobs would fall into the water here and they'd bounce up and down and they wouldn't go underneath this block. So you need that extra block next to it just to allow them to fall underneath. And this platform serves a couple of purposes. Firstly, it sort of prevents, or it doesn't completely prevent, but it cuts down the amount of Endermen spawning in your farm, because they can only spawn in a 3 high gap. So there are only a few spaces around the corners, around the edges here, that Enderman can spawn in the farm. So that's one thing they do. The second thing, it stops mobs from jumping up and down when they get to the middle. So once they get here, if the platform wasn't there, they'd be able to jump up and down, and it's harder for them to fall into the hole. If they can't jump, it makes it easier to fall into the hole. And thirdly, it'll give you something to stand on while you're putting the next level on. But before we put the next level on, we'll get the bottom one working. So you'll probably want to put just a couple of temporary torches up here, because we are going to be getting rid of the torches down the bottom. And then you want to grab 4 buckets of water. And you need to put a bucket of water in each one of these dispensers. If you've got depth strider, brilliant. If you haven't, this might be a little tricky. So put your depth striders on if you have them. Now we need to start the farm working, but we need to synchronize it. We need to get it working so that they're all firing at the same time. Now the easiest way to do that is wait for the time at the bottom to click. You'll hear the pistons going, and then quickly lob down some dust that side, and then some dust on that side, and that will activate all of your dispensers at the same time. So now when the timer goes back, they'll all turn off. Brilliant. So that now is the bottom level completely finished. So now any mobs that spawn on here will get washed down to the middle and into the cramming station. Fabulous. Now we need to take out your solid blocks again, and we need to cover this entire floor. From this level, we need to cover all of the floor, leaving out obviously the center one, but the rest of the floor needs to be completely covered. Like that, and then you just need to pop out the center block if you can remember where it is, and I clearly couldn't. Like that. Now we need to do exactly the same on this level as we did on the previous level. So we'll have to move these torches up a little bit. So we'll find the center block, this one here, pop that out. That's where your redstone torches are going to be. Do that on both sides. Put your block there, and then a block there. Now you may mess with the timings underneath. If you're unlucky, and I don't know whether I was. No, I think I was okay. No, I wasn't. Yeah, so this side is working, that side wasn't, so I've messed up the timing. So pop that block out, pop it back in again, and that should reset both the timings down. They're both the dispensers, so they're now working in unison again. Fabulous. And then grab yourself a redstone torch on there, solid block on top of that, torch on there, solid block on top of that, and then we need to run a line of solid blocks all the way down this wall again, putting a torch on top of there, and then a line of blocks like that. If it gets a little dark, don't be afraid to put some torches down. You say you're probably best to have torches in here to start with. You don't want mobs and stuff spawning in here. Okay, so redstone torch on top of the middle block, and then fill the rest in with solid blocks. And then get to a corner and count 7 blocks in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do the same this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fill them all in. Like that, and do that in each corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A few torches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fill them in. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're left with that. Now, before we go any further, we need to put a skin on the roof, on the ceiling of this thing. We need to cover all of this with a skin all the way over the top. So completely cover the top of your top of this level. Okay, so you've got a 2 high gap here. Obviously, it's going to be 3 here, but it needs to be 2 high from this corner all the way over to the other side. You need to cover the complete ceiling with solid blocks. Okay, once you've done that, you need to make sure, crouching again, making sure you don't fall down there, you need to make sure that that block at the top is left uncovered. Otherwise, nothing from your farms above are going to fall down here. And then you need to grab your dispensers again. Find the wall that's got the redstone torch on it. You see those two. Go to the corners and put a dispenser there facing inwards and a dispenser there facing this way with the redstone torch in the middle, and then put some solid blocks all the way up to your redstone torch, a block above it, and then some more solid blocks all the way across to the other side. And then do the same on the other side. Grab your dispensers, find your torch, dispenser there, dispenser there. Fill in the middle with blocks like that. Okay, now if you knock out that block above it and do the same on the other side, we'll use that to synchronize these the dispensers on this level. So grab your dust and put dust all the way along to there, and then all the way along the other side. And then over to this side, do exactly the same on this side. Like that. And now what we're going to do is, once we, to synchronize them, we need to wait until that water's gone off, like that, and then we'll run and put a block above that redstone torch and a block above that redstone torch. That'll turn this on. But before we do that, there's one final thing we have to do. We have to put the ceiling bit over the middle. So we'll do the same as we did down the bottom. We'll put 3 blocks up like this. 3 blocks up there, 3 up there, and 3 up there. We can then pop out those blocks and then count 5 blocks from the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just fill them in. Now we're on the home stretch. We've just got to put the water in the dispensers. So grab your water buckets again and stick 1 in each dispenser. And now we need to grab a solid block again, and we need to find out when the water stops running on the platform below. So the dispensers have just fired and the water's running. We need to wait for the dispensers to click again. And then we need to run over and put a block above there. And then a block above there. That starts the water on this level while the water at the bottom is turned off. And then as soon as the water on the level below turns on, the water on this level turns off. Water down there is turned off. And the water on this level has turned on. So now there is always a spawning platform for the mobs to spawn on. Now don't be worried about the light being given off by this redstone dust, because it's at best, I think it's 5, a light level of 5. So let's go into F3. Let's put debug on. If I stand right next to the torch, the light level on the block is only 5. As long as it's 7 or below, mobs are going to spawn in here. So although it looks a little bit bright, it's only a 5, so that'll be fine. So I'll go into spectator mode now, and hopefully we should start getting some mobs spawn in here. There you go, our first contestants. So while this is being flushed, this platform is free for mobs to spawn onto. Now, as I say, you are going to get some spiders in here, but I don't really think it's going to cause too much of an issue. Also, bear in mind that this is a void world and there's nowhere else on this world for mobs to spawn in, which is why the rates on here do look quite impressive. So you might not get this kind of rate in your farm, but if you light up the entire area with 128 blocks, there's no reason that you won't. If you want a server, the mob cap's going to be taken up by other players, so again, that's something you need to bear in mind. But still, this is a lot more efficient than the previous module. So that's how you upgrade the mod farm on the one chunk farming system. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, everybody. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future tutorials. This is Frilioth, and I'm out of here.